Hi, this is Ed Gregory for photosincolor.com, and today I'm going to show you how to correctly export photos in Lightroom. Theme tune. I feel like my dancers are getting more energetic. So in Lightroom, you've imported your photographs, you've edited your photographs, and now you're ready to share them with the world or your clients or just get them back on your computer. Because remember, any edits that you make in Lightroom, you can only view in Lightroom. You can't view them anywhere else. So you must export them with the edits made on top. So let's jump into Lightroom and I'll show you how to do it correctly, quickly, and with the best results. So here you go. Here we are, we're in Lightroom, and importantly, we are in the library module, which is in the top right here to do this. Now make sure that you already have done your keywords and that all of your information down here is all correct. I'll have another tutorial on what all of this is in the future. However, this is all done and I'm going to export this photograph because I want to share it with the world. That's why I chose this image. However, if you wanted to export multiple, you just start with one, hold down Shift, and then click, and then it's going to select all of these down the bottom, and then it will export all of those. So let's say we're going to export this one. Now, you can either go File, Export, okay? You can hit Export, which is the big button down here, or Command-Shift-E, and it brings up the export module like so. So here we go. We have lots of different options and some things on the side too. So let's work through this and let me explain what each thing does. You can first of all choose where you want to export this. Now, 99% of the time, I'm guessing you're going to be exporting to hard drive. If you export to email, what it does is it brings up an email thing. And so if I hit export now, you can write who it's going to go to and it will send that photograph with those settings exported and sent. Great. But then it's only in your email, so I've never actually used that. So most of the time it's going to go to your hard drive. So here we go. Let's work through these. The first thing here is export location. Where do you want the photos to go when they're exported? And you have a number of options. So specific folder means you will then choose over here and you will then navigate to the folder that you would want to actually put the photos in. That's the first option. So that's great. You can go, I want these images to go here. Now the next one is going to be choose folder later. Now I use this one all the time because it even tells you use for presets, because basically what that means is you can edit all of these things down here that we're going to look at today. But the one thing that you might want to change is where the photos go each time, because it's a different set of photos. Basically what that means is I haven't selected a folder, but when I hit export here, it brings up this, and now I go through and I can select the folder to actually do it in, okay? So the final one is same as the original folder. So where this photo is originally on my computer, it's going to save it in that folder. I don't do that because things get very messy when I do it that way. So for this one, I'm going to go for choose folder later because that's what I prefer. Okay, now this option here, okay, is add to this catalog. It means that once it's been exported, it will then re-import it back into Lightroom so you can see it. I don't usually do that, but you can do very easily. The final thing that I do want to point out here is if you went, for example, same as original folder, you could then go put inside a subfolder and you could, for example, type in edits. And then inside that original folder, you'll have all your images and you'll have another one that says edits. So it's very useful, okay? I actually used that for a long time, but I stopped doing that. The next thing, file naming, okay? What do you want your file to be called? Now, I've already renamed this file and I've called it Man Celebrating at the Grand Canyon While Traveling. Okay, great. However, what you might want to do is you might want to rename. So if you've selected multiple images, okay, file name, sequence, and then a start number. Okay, so that's basically whatever this is, and then it's just going to, so it's going to be this and number 1 at the end. But you can change it to lots of different things. So one thing that you might want to do, custom name with sequence. This is fantastic. So if, for example, I had 500 photographs at the Grand Canyon, I could write in Grand Canyon 2016. And then it would, if we can spell, it would then add this in and then put a 1 at the end. Then the next image would be 2, 3, and 4, like that. So that's a really great one. But you can select any of these. I would usually say file name and sequence, custom name and sequence are the best ones. Adding numbers and sequences to the end can be hugely helpful, okay? So let's keep that on rename. Often, if you've already done it here, you don't need to. Or if you do this because you want to add the sequence, all you need to do is file name and sequence, job done. Okay, the next thing, video. If you have video in your catalog, it will allow you to say include the video, and then you can select the video format and quality. Today we're only looking at photos, so you would just turn that off. Okay, the next one is the file settings. Okay, so this is how it's going to be like, what quality it is, what format it is, and anything like this. So the first thing here is you have these as a selection. JPEG is a JPEG format. PSD is great for Photoshop. TIFF is great as a raw file that can be used in multiple things, including Photoshop. DMG is your Adobe RAW, essentially, so it'll convert it to any of these. Then original is whatever the original is. So if it was a Nikon RAW file, it would keep it as a Nikon RAW file, okay? But remember, edits aren't always supported across all RAW files, so just be aware of that. If you're going to be exporting to be used on the internet or sending to any clients, 99% of the time, you're going to use JPEG. Okay, the next thing is color space. Now, you have 3 options here. You have sRGB, Adobe RGB, and ProPhoto. Now, the difference with these are, Adobe, this has RGB. This is an old version, so legacy. Again, I wouldn't ever use that because it's a legacy version. It's all been updated. sRGB is standard used across pretty much every single platform, Mac and PC. ProPhoto, this keeps more of the information, but I would only use this if you're then going to re-edit in Lightroom or Photoshop. Because if you then send this to somebody with a PC, or if they don't have this format, your colors are going to get messed up. So again, if it's going to be your clients, you're always going to select sRGB. Right, the next thing, quality. Over on this slider here. Now you can essentially go, I want it to be at 50% quality. Now what this does, this setting here, it will keep the actual size of the image the same. It will just flatten it more and it might become more pixelated or whatever because you've reduced your quality. Importantly, Lightroom is massively powerful. If you go down to 90, okay, you're going to reduce your file size by about a third. If you go down to 80, you're going to reduce your file size by about a half. So you can always knock this off a little bit just to save some space and you won't see much quality difference. Now what you can also do is you can limit the file size. So I know that I shoot on a D800, so my file sizes are often really big. So I might want to limit it to 10,000. Okay, and what that will be, this is kilobytes, and that will essentially be 10 megabytes. There's 1,000 per megabyte. Okay, so that's what I often do because it limits the size so that I know that the quality, it will always be the highest quality as long as it's up to 10 megabytes. So that's the setting that I use quite a lot. Means that I can be in control. The next thing is the size. So this is the physical size of the image, okay? So for this, for example, you might, if you leave it off, it won't resize it. It will just leave it the same that it is and you can choose your resolution. So your pixels per inch. Now, if it's going to be only used for web, then I would go either 72 or 96 pixels per inch. If you're going to do it for print, then I would go 300 or more. That would be my recommendation. 300 is pretty standard though for print. Now, what you can also do is now resize this. So you could say, I want it to be a certain size. So I want it to be 50% of its original size, okay? Or I would want it to be, this is a really great setting, long edge. Because this does either in landscape, this length here, or in portrait mode, it would be the horizontal or the vertical, okay, depending on if it's landscape or portrait. But then you can say, okay, I want it to be limited to 1000 pixels wide for this image, or 1000 pixels tall. This is really, really a great way of fixing things. Now, remember, these two here work with each other. So if you've gone 1000 pixels, so it's shrunk the size of the image, but you've got a file size at 10 megabytes, then your quality can be higher because you've made the image smaller. But if this one you've left this here at full size, then your quality may have been reduced to come under the 10 megabytes. So just remember about those things. There is a little bit of a payoff here. So it's all up to you. Right, the next thing is output sharpening. Okay, I often don't do this because I've done my sharpening inside Lightroom, but if you're going to sharpen for screen, okay, so it's only going to be used on a computer or an iPad or a phone, so it's going to be used on Facebook or an online portfolio, then you can have screen, okay? And then you can say, how much do you want? You know, do you really want it to pop more on the screen, or just add a little bit of sharpness, okay? Or leave it at standard. Then you've got matte paper and glossy paper. It is different for each one, and there are great profiles built into Lightroom allowing you to do this, okay? I'm gonna leave it off for now. The next thing is your metadata. Now this is what I spoke about on the side here. Make sure you've already got it all done, because inside here you can tell it what information are you going to export inside the photo. So obviously you've got all your metadata, which means every single thing is in there, including what camera you shot it on, what time of day you shot it, the size of the image, and also all of your keywords and all of those things. We can also say copyright only. So it's just gonna have down here the copyright information, okay? I usually leave it on everything, okay? But you can remove kind of the camera information, and you can include the copyright and your contact information. I use everything, and then you can remove the person, so that's the model information that you can add, and the location, okay? I have those set to remove. The next thing is watermark. Now, this is when you put a stamp essentially on top of the image. So if we were to add a watermark, okay, let's come in here. I have a couple that are pre-built, okay? But if we go to edit watermarks, I'll do a tutorial on this, but if I was to do it under Ed Gregory, okay, I can place it down at the bottom corner here, about this big, and now that will be put on every single image. Hit save. Do I want to save it as a preset? No, so we'll just come back out and cancel. I don't want to do that. So what I might do is I might add in one of my other presets onto there, like so. Final thing is post-processing. So what do you want to happen once all of this has happened? So I usually leave it as nothing. But what you might want to do is open up this on your computer, the folders, so you can see them all. You might also, you can link it in to Photoshop, so they will automatically open it in Photoshop, okay? Which is really powerful. Now, once you've got all of this done, it might take you a while to fix it at first. You might want to build all of this out for, you know, having one here which is only 1000 because you want it to go on a portfolio that you want to load fast, or you might want to have one set up so that it goes to Facebook, which is at 2000, for example. Now, so you've done all of this. What you might want to do is then build a preset. So you hit add, and then you call it the preset and you tell it where it's going to be saved, okay? So I'm currently not going to do that. And then in future, when you come back, all you have to do is you can go into your presets. So for example, my studio preset, which is in Color Studios, I can go client full size, and that's going to add absolutely all the information that I wanted to do. And then all I have to do is hit export. I'm going to tell it where to go. So I'm going to put it on my desktop, and I'm going to hit open. Now up here, it's going to export the file. That's now completed. And if I come over here to my desktop, here we have the man celebrating exported as I chose, okay? So that's how you export in Lightroom. It's incredibly powerful, and when you first see it, it's kind of scary, but actually it's very simple and self-explanatory. Definitely use presets, it will help you. Anyway, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe to this channel, loads more tutorials coming. This was Ed Gregory for photosincolor.com. Ooh. A lot of talking. A lot